Welcome back to the vlog. Welcome here to Wewak, Papua New Guinea. Bright, sunny, hot day. And are heading down to Madang on an hour and 6-minute flight. And I'm going to go over a little bit of our IFR procedures here in Papua New Guinea because it's a lot different than everywhere else. And then we're actually going to shoot an approach down there. A GNSS approach into 07. So stay tuned for that.
Marley 126.7 November Tango Zulu.
Tango Zulu, most we get.
November Tango Zulu, taxi Wewak, Madang, 2 POV.
Tango Zulu.
All stations Wewak, Kodiak, November Tango Zulu is taxiing for runway 28. All stations Wewak. A little tailwind, little crosswind, but I'm okay accepting it. Long runway, and it gets us on course a little better.
And we're empty, so yep. Cool. All right, well, it is 12:40 right now. We're about a half hour behind schedule. Anyway, we got stuck earlier. You can see how muddy the airplane is. That was always fun. But we're heading down, and I wanted to show you guys what we have for weather here available. We're up here in Wewak, heading down here to Madang. It looks like there's some maybe buildups along the Aldebert mountain range. That's at noon. Then 1 o'clock really doesn't change much. Maybe builds up a little bit more around here in Wewak. Doesn't really change much. And
all stations Wewak, Kodiak, November Tango Zulu is back taxiing 28 for runway 10. All stations Wewak.
It's 12:40 right now, and we're going to be getting down there around 1:45. So this is what it's saying at 2. So if we zoom in down here, it looks like we've got rain all around Madang. That's what the yellow and all the lightning strikes are indicating. It's just going to have a lot of buildups. That's what lightning strikes are. A lot of cumulus clouds, and then we're just going to have rain kind of all around. So this is maybe a good day to shoot the approach. We did it yesterday as well, so we're just doubling up on getting in there on approaches.
All stations Wewak, Kodiak, November Tango Zulu is departing runway 10 from Madang on climb 15,000. All stations Wewak. Prop condition, flaps 20, seat belts, and fuel. 1540, rotating to 57. Alright, gauges are green, airspeed's alive. Rotate.
I've mentioned before, guys, but if this is the first time you've seen this place, Wewak, all those bomb craters down there, that's what those are from World War II. I actually have a video somewhere posted of a World War II actual footage of them coming and bombing Wewak. Pretty cool stuff if you're into history. I'll see if I can remember to leave the link down below.
I'm going to track this heading for a little bit, and then I'll turn left on course.
Okay.
We're going right on course.
All right. As you guys can see, we've just got a bunch of clouds. There's a line of mountains right here, and that's where all the clouds build up in the morning, afternoon. It's almost 1 o'clock now. So what he was just saying is he's just going to be tracking coastal. Let me show you on here. We're just going to be tracking coastal until we get down to the end of those mountains, and then we'll cut back in, and then we don't have to just
126.7
November
Tango Zulu departure.
Tango Zulu, most we 126.7, get.
November Tango Zulu departed Wewak time 44, tracking 122 on climb 15,000. Estimating Bogia at 17 next hour.
November Tango Zulu, check. 27 level.
15,000, November Tango Zulu.
November Tango Zulu, check.
All right, well, here we go, guys. This is our IFR chart here for Papua New Guinea. I have myself on mute so he doesn't have to listen to me just chit-chat, but like he was just saying, we're coming down here and we're actually going to be tracking kind of south, and then we'll get on course right out here, right past the end of these mountains, because, well, that's where all these clouds are. We're going all the way up to 15,000 feet today. We'll have to wear oxygen because it's not pressurized, like I've said before. And yeah, we also have our direct course is down to Bogia, all the way down to Madang, but we'll also have a bunch of clouds and build up and rain in this area. as well as this area right here. So we've got a small gap through here that we might be able to fit through that lines us up with our approach that we're planning on doing anyway. We'll see how it all pans out once we get there though. I wanted to show you guys what we actually do have for IFR here. Flying, which is basically IMC stuff where we fly through clouds where we can do it legally. C&G has all the regulations, and they have like a low en route chart here as well, but it just doesn't work for us. Let me show it to you if I can find it. Okay, so for this track, well, I'd work on this specific track, lowest safe altitude 7,800 all the way down there. What we've done is basically, well, that one works there, but then the one here to Goroka onto Wewak is at 16.8, and that just doesn't work for us. Like, we'd be getting icing. If you're going IMC, for sure you're going to be getting icing up there at that. And all we have are pitot heats. So our section is 3,500 and 7,400. Basically what the regulations here in Papua New Guinea are is up to 5,000 feet, then you have to be 1,000 feet over any terrain. 5,000 to 10,000, you're looking at 1,500 feet, and over 10,000, 2,000 feet above the highest terrain. That works, but there's not that many approaches at these places, so you see us go IFR, back to VFR, marginal VFR, and you wonder why we're always kind of skirting ourselves around clouds and stuff, because it's easier for us to maintain a VFR or even marginal VFR to be able to get into a lot of these places because we don't have any other options to just break out and shoot some approach. So I'm excited about actually shooting the approach today with Jeff. It already is IFR rated, but hey, we still practice because if you don't, you lose it. Jeff is just setting up the approach right now in the G1000 and just getting it ready basically so that it's all ready when we're ready once we get up there. Looks like we're just passing almost 10,000 now. I think that we'll actually get over top of these clouds for the most part and basically just track down along all these mountains down here. If you guys aren't familiar, this plane actually has a radar pod off the wing. That's what that thing hanging down is for. So if we wanted to turn it on, we can come over here, come down to our weather radar, hit mode, weather, and then I'm making sure my tilt's at 250, or 2.5 I should say. And then we go back to this page, hit map, weather radar, then we'll start doing it scan. And it doesn't look like there's actually any weather up there today yet at all. And it's only good for probably about 40 to 60 miles. I mean, it says 120 right here, but yeah, right. It's not accurate after that distance at all. When it has weather radar on, you don't have your terrain on. And it just, well, it looks pretty nice out there for the most part. Lots of clouds when we get in there. And we have a big build up there that we were seeing that might have some rain heading back to Goroka, and then one off to the left as well. But we'll actually be tracking a little bit more out that way, so it looks like we're going to miss a lot of things. We might get some clouds on the way through, but we'll pack back up when we get going on the instant approach, because the next 40 minutes is pretty boring. We're using the 4Flight app here. These are our own charts that we've actually put into custom content in here. But let me show you how we can actually bring our IFR charts up on here. Go to flight plan, procedure, we'll hit approach. We're coming in on 07, and it actually overlays it right on top. And we're going via Whiskey Golf. It automatically puts it right over, add it to route, and bam, you have your approach plate right on top. It's readjusted your flight plan. Join in at the initial approach fix of Whiskey Golf. So, as we're almost there, we got about another 13 minutes to go for Whiskey Golf. As you can see, when we directly went to Whiskey Golf, it just took us around all of these mountains right here, and as you can see, that's where all the massive buildups are. So there's no point flying through that when we can just go track directly over here. Well, it's still a nice day out here today, but that's all right.
Madang Airport, Information Golf. Time 0319 Zulu. Runway 07. Wind variable 3 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more.
Vertical track.
Haze. Cloud. Scattered 1,600 feet. Scattered 5,000 feet. QNH 1008. Temperature and dew point not available. Caution, bird strike hazard exists. Acknowledge information golf.
Alright, QNH just switched to 1008.
Okay. Is it still Foxtrot then?
That's golf. As you guys can see on our MFD screen here, we've already got the approach loaded up and activated. That's why it's taking us directly to our initial approach fix of Whiskey Golf. And then you have these two cyan numbers right here, and then the ones with the white with the underline. Those originally started white underline, but when you hit enter, it actually switches them to a cyan color, and then it will actually give you your descent profile, what's required for your descent. You can actually see we have like a little fake glide slope right here. In the boxes, you can't really tell, but they actually go down along. So it only allows you to do it before your final approach fix, and then after that it's just step downs, like stair stepping down. So it'd be nice if it had it all the way down. The other one coming in on runway 25 actually does, and it'll actually fly. This is just LNAV plus V, the other one's LNAV VNAV, so it actually will fly you down like an ILS.
Marsley 120.1, November Tango Zulu, stop at ascent this time.
Tango Zulu, no, 407, contact tower 118.1, 25 miles.
118.1 at 25, November Tango Zulu.
Well, it hasn't quite built up like what the weather forecast was. It was saying there was going to be a bunch of rain right in this area as well.
Exactly.
So maybe give it a couple more hours before it builds, but it doesn't look like it's really building at all. If you're wondering how do we know when we can start our descent coming down in here, if we were IMC, if we're in clouds, we use an arrival approach. Eldebert, which is just this mountain range right here. And if we look at it, 45 nautical miles, we go down to 7,500. Right now, if we hit our nearest, we're 31 miles, so we're in between that section right there. So once we pass 25 miles Madang, we can go to 6,000. You can see here, we need to be at 5,600 by our first point. So at the track we're coming down in, you can see the little cyan banana right there. We're going to get to our altitude at 5,600 right when we need to. Which is, as you can see now, the plane's starting to come in here to Whiskey Golf, 5,600. So let me zoom in this.
Madang Tower, November Tango Zulu.
November Tango Zulu, Madang Tower, good day.
November Tango Zulu is 25 miles to the northwest, 9,400 on descent. Request RNAV GPS 07 via Whiskey Golf for practice approach via Whiskey Golf.
November Tango Zulu, cleared RNAV 07 approach.
Cleared out RNAV 07 approach, and we have Golf. November Tango Zulu.
November Tango Zulu, report Whiskey Foxtrot.
Report Whiskey Foxtrot, November Tango Zulu. 3 miles prior, I'll go ahead and slow down and get flaps 10. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead, yeah, I'll do prop forward, reduce power, and then flaps 10.
If you reduce power before you do your prop, it won't have as much of a,
okay.
And then you do that.
Okay, so reduce power, prop forward, and then once we're below the 138, we can go flaps 10.
Now, as you guys can see, we're actually flying right through the boxes right here, right on our fake glide slope, and we'll have that available all the way down to the final approach fix, which is Whiskey Foxtrot, but then again, you'll see all the boxes just drop down and just be flat at the lowest level that we put it at. So, yeah, I wish it'd go all the way down, but it doesn't allow you to do that here. You can see we're just 3 miles out from our next point. I have him on mute, so don't worry, I'm not distracting him. So he's pulling power, pushing prop forward, and getting 10 degrees of flaps in, and slowing us down to our 110 knots.
All right, flaps 10. I have to bring up a little more power.
All right, just muted myself again. So now the next section, we're going to be dropping down to 3690 in this section. So once we pass this, he just flipped it down. Now it says 3690. He's increasing our descent rate down to 900 so that we can keep. And if he looks right here, we've got 760. It actually tells you what we need. So we're actually getting a little bit more than what we need, but that's all right. He'll adjust it once we get down low there.
And Looks like we're going to cross Whiskey India at our 3,690. It's going to be a left turn heading 058. And then once we cross Whiskey India, we'll go down to 2,100. And I need to let her know that we're over Whiskey Foxtrot.
If you guys are actually ever shooting approaches, if you use the time rather than the distance for things, it makes it a lot easier. It's a lot easier to interpolate, oh, it's 30 seconds away as opposed to it's 0.6 miles away kind of thing. All right, you can see we're just now turning at Whiskey India. At this point, we're dropping on down to 2,100 feet. So once we pass this and it sequences on there, then he can turn it down to 2,100. There we go, it just sequenced. Now we'll head on down to 2,100 feet. You can see the boxes, they just, well, they're still kind of going at an angle. Actually, no, I'm sorry, from that point on, then they just drop down. Yeah, you can see they just drop down to 2,100 feet. And then the next section, they'll do the exact same thing. Time, we got 1 minute to go to Whiskey Foxtrot. Turn is going to be straight ahead. Throttle, we're going down to 2,100. West, we are set up there and talk. We need to let her know we're over Whiskey Foxtrot. Okay. Right now we're just coming up to Whiskey Foxtrot, which is our final approach fix, indicated by this and that on there. We're dropping down to 1,100 now.
Midnight Tower, November Tango Zulu, overhead Whiskey Foxtrot.
November Tango Zulu, runway 07, clear to land.
Clear to land 07, November Tango Zulu. Alright, so a minute to go to Whiskey Zulu. We'll go down to, after that, we'll go down to our 640, which is our minimum.
That chime just lets us know that we're within 200 feet of whatever altitude we have selected in here. So once he passes this, he's going to turn that down to our minimums of 640. So that's going to go down to 640. That's our minimum safe altitude that he can go to. And out of all the times I've actually had to shoot approaches here, I've only had to go down to minimums 2 times ever. So it's pretty rare that we actually have to shoot approaches here.
All right, so we're coming up on our minimum. I'm looking, I've got it in sight.
Minimums.
Flaps 20.
As you can see, we're only a half a mile from the airstrip at our minimums, so it's a pretty quick transition from like, man, the second you're like, oh, there it is, let's go, 20 degrees, full flat,
500.
going down. It makes it really busy, especially if you are in actual IMC conditions.
Checklist is complete. For 50, we got 4 knots of headwind and 2 knots of crosswind. We are 5 knots fast.
There we go. It even switches you over to your taxi diagram, which really makes it easy. I wish I had this in the States. That'd be so nice. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time. Jeff did a good job on that. I think he was waiting for me to fail some equipment today because I failed a bunch of equipment yesterday on the same approach for him to make it harder. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Welcome here to Dang. We're just picking up a bunch of meat for our store up in Goroka where we live. And heading on back to Goroka on our last flight of the day, and hopefully be done by 3. Started at 6. So yeah, kind of a long day today. Alright guys, see you next time. Thanks again.